Who are the coolest dudes on the planet?
United States veterans.
What's the coolest sport on the planet?
Pro wrestling.
And what would be the coolest podcast on the planet? That would be this one.
U.S. military vets talking pro wrestling.
This is the No Shave Man Cave. Two badass disabled vets sharing their love of pro wrestling, giving you their perspective as fans, talking about current events and matches, history of titles, and who knows what else. Let's do it.
Welcome to the No Shave Men Cave. Now your hosts, Ellie Jair and Jay Tilley.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, wrestling fans, and sports entertainment fans, welcome to the No Shave Man Cave. I'm Ellie Jair.
Hey, I'm Jay Tilley.
And you have joined us in a, what should we call this? A casual conversation, a how's your 2023? Tell you, this first quarter of 2023, JT, talk to me.
Hey, I've got one for you. This is for Michael Hamflett, if he ever listens. A casual conversation contemplating quarter one. He loves those alliterations.
Ooh.
So. Hey, I tweeted him when I think it was Orange Cassidy took on that match or whatever. I tweeted something to the effect of, what did he think about the combat? I don't know, a bunch of C words in there. And all I got back is cock. He did not like it, but I kind of do that just to egg him on a little.
Nice.
Hey, someday I think I want to reach out to them and have them on our show.
Heck yeah, man. I think, whenever we get retweeted or quote tweeted, there was the one where I was kind of cracking on Jericho and he was like, oh, real nice. I was like, oh, hey, you're paying attention to the socials. Yeah. Nyla Rose dropped something today. She was talking about her having some scotch and she was in boss mode. I was like, uh-oh, easy now. There's someone else called the boss. So, I think the fun that is being had, not only on the contributors in the social media and non-wrestling world and in the wrestling world, I think bringing the two together, I think has been great. And the competitive nature, it seems, is starting to help WWE raise the bar and not be so WWE, even with Vince McMahon coming back. And I am so excited for WrestleMania, more so than in years past, that, some of the matches we've already seen and some of how we were just talking about how some of the storylines are going to lay out and the magic that could be had and the stories. And, we're talking about women's wrestling being elevated. I'm hoping that this will be like the first long story with a couple of factions, a couple of women's factions over in AEW. I think we're going to have a hell of a time. So I'm excited.
Yeah, I agree. I think, I made a joke about it a couple podcasts ago about we can thank Tony Khan for the bloodline. A joke, not a joke, right? Because I think that if it wasn't for AEW, because you brought the competition, I think if it wasn't for AEW, we'd still be in the stagnant stage of WWE because there was no competition. There was nothing to drive them to be better. Just like when WCW started the Monday Night Wars, WWE had to change their tactics, had to change what they were doing, and became the Attitude Era and DX and all that, which was phenomenal stuff. I think the same thing's happening now, and I've said it probably on almost every one of our podcasts, that I believe we are in the beginning of another wrestling boom. And I think the competition between, whether they want to admit their competition or not, WWE and AEW, yes, it's kind of two different products. If like I said, I think on a review, I have to look at it as two different products. Otherwise I get really disappointed in WWE or I get really hyped about the other. So I have to kind of separate it as pro wrestling and sports entertainment. However, it's the same, it's wrestling, right? And I think that having that competition is driving WWE to write better story, is driving them to sign Cody Rhodes, to have matches with Chad Gable, has pushed them to, maybe we should do Sami Zayn, Bloodline, in-depth, long-term storytelling.
Yeah.
Not that I'm saying it wasn't always on the table, but I don't believe it was personally.
Yeah.
I believe that Triple H kind of went, we need to do something drastic. We need to figure out a way to fix our viewership and listen to our fans. And they want more in-depth stories. They want this, that, and that. And I think, AEW coming out and doing that was a big part of it. And you mentioned WrestleMania, and it made me start to think about just Q1 in general. And, we just had a Dynamite that was not very good. And I almost wonder if it's because Tony's going to take his foot off the gas a little bit and wait till after WrestleMania, because all the stories going in are going to be WrestleMania. Everybody's going to be talking about what's coming up in WrestleMania, this and that. Not that that's an excuse, and not that he will. He may do the opposite and floor it, and next thing you know, Okada's showing up. But or Jay White or The Rock shows up at a Dynamite. Who knows? But
oh my God, dude.
Who knows what it is?
Ooh.
But I think Q1 this year so far, like I've said, is the beginning of a boom. And already in Q1 this year, in my opinion, we've had 2, possibly 3 or 4 match of the year contenders, and we're not even done with Q1 yet.
Yeah, I mean, I think I know which matches you would consider the top matches. But when we look at matches in a wrestling aspect, there's the storytelling piece too. And a match that I went back and watched Friday or Saturday last week was the Elimination Chamber match, and Roman Reigns and Sami Zayn. And the storytelling and the pace and the credibility and the registering, I was like, man, now you don't get the same action as you get with Osprey and Omega, but the emotional investment and the ride that you went on even spilled over to the next night on Monday Night Raw, or 2 nights later on Monday Night Raw, and you saw Sami Zayn's body battered, and you're like, that is awesome storytelling. That is awesome connection and helping the fans come along on that ride. And just like you said, if AEW hadn't come along, we'd still be trotting through, whatever. Ring of Honor would be dead, and the indie, indie-rific stuff, you'd still be only hearing about it because it, would be on Fight TV or whatever, so you'd get it that way. But I think the more you kind of like tongue-in-cheek say, hey, thank you, Tony Khan, that's definitely a more true statement every day as the bloodline continues to evolve. You're thinking, oh, well, it's dead. Jay's not involved. Got him. And, Elimination Chamber was fantastic. Revolution was off the hook. Most of the, what have we had? 11 or 12 of the Dynamites have been, much, much better. The Evolution has been good. Friday night Rampage has been good. The Elevation is what I meant to say, not Evolution.
Yeah.
Elevation and the dark matches have been good. And yeah, I think if it's this good now, and what that Monday after WrestleMania, because there's going to be people getting pushed. We're going to have a new WWE World Universal Champion.
Hopefully, yep.
Then someone's going to come out and say, hey, here's what we want to do. We're going to have new tag team champions. We're going to have new women's tag team champions, potentially 2 new women's champions, a new Intercontinental champion with either McIntyre or Sheamus coming out with the Intercontinental title. I don't think oh boy will drop the title. Theory won't drop the title to Cena. So, I mean, there's going to be that hustle and bustle. And like you said, if Tony is going to hit the gas on that first show, so what would that be, April 4th or 5th? He is going to put a rocket on someone.
Yep.
And they are going to lock horns with MJF. And it's going to be another story that was deeply personal, just like he did with CM Punk, just like he did with even even not even having any wrestling involved, just the promos with Tony Khan, and then most recently with Danielson.
Yeah. So are you, just to back up, because I'm curious about this. So do you think the Elimination Chamber match with Sammy and Roman was your match of the quarter so far? Taking the Omega Ospreay one out of it, because I think that one, hands down, is probably everybody's match of the quarter, if not the year so far.
I think, it would definitely be. I'm trying to think of some of the other matches where you're just like, woof, and the Iron Man match.
That's mine.
Was fantastic. I didn't like the ending, but you're not going to like everything. And I think the way the match ended made sense for the wrestlers that were involved, and it can give them some place to go later on down the road. And you might be the world champion, but you're not the best in the world. Next thing you hear is CM Punk's music hit, or I am the cult of, and out he comes walking, like the roof would blow off the place if he comes back that episode after WrestleMania. Whew.
Yeah, I can pick 5 matches right now, just off the top of my head, without like going back and watching them, that blew me away for different reasons that I could argue the case for all of them. Obviously, Ospreay Omega. Highly encourage anybody out there, if you can, go watch that match. Amazing. The story they tell in the ring, everything involved in that match is really good.
Yeah.
And these are in no particular order. The one that you said, the Elimination Chamber with Roman and Sammy, great match, great storytelling, slower pace, kind of plotted through it, but they did a really good job. The Cody and Gable match from Raw, what a great match. And that one, no build, no nothing, just a boop. Here's a match you're going to love. I thought that was great. The Texas Death match with Hangman and Mox.
Oh man,
was just the story of Hangman doesn't like violence, so he wasn't pushing the violence, where Mox kept introducing more and more violence and more weapons, and then that ends up being his downfall at the end. So that whole storytelling, and then the Iron Man match, which to me was probably one of the best, actually probably the best Iron Man match I've seen. The story from beginning to end, the character work, specifically, both of them, the character work of both of them, but MJF, his heel work was unbelievable.
He threw tequila on a freaking little kid. I mean, it worked out for him. He got to meet Hobbs and all that.
The kid just looked thirsty, though. The kid was just thirsty.
Yeah. Oh, the mom was standing there like, you mother.
Yep.
I was like,
I'm surprised she didn't slap him.
Yeah.
But
I think the character work by Rollins has been fantastic. He's been in some banger matches. I don't know if he knows how to have a bad match, like what you were saying, the character work and by both Danielson and MJF. It was I cannot disagree.
You mentioned Rollins, and it just made me think, to be honest with you, I could add the men's Elimination Chamber probably to my list of matches, because that Rollins Gargano stuff in the beginning, that match in general was another one. Fantastic storytelling throughout the match, high paced action. Our buddy Jer up in Georgia watched it, and that was his match. He loved it, and I had to, the tickler. I had to go back and think, and I'm like, was it that good? And then I started thinking, I'm like, yeah, man, that actually was really, really impressive.
Put Montez on the map.
Yep.
So
yeah, absolutely.
That was
So
great crowd. And we were reading and hearing all of the talk that Trish was coming out, and had she come out, not that Sammy didn't get a great pop, but had she come out during Elimination Chamber, there'd be some blown eardrums.
Oh yeah.
And then they were in, I think it was Winnipeg or Hamilton or something. The next night was, almost as good. But yeah, I mean, just some of the tag team matches from the tournament were really, really good. I love seeing Ricochet fly around the place. I wish they'd take the the leash or handcuffs or whatever you're calling, and let him go. He came out in the new gear. I think they're gonna give, put him somewhere. I really wanted to see Gargano walk out or Montez walk out the United States champion, and because you don't need the United States title for Cena and Theory to compete, but I think now that Theory is the United States champion and they're going to compete at WrestleMania, it's how Roman started his trajectory, and I think this is his last shot to really prove that he's the man. So we'll see. But we talk about our top 5 matches and all. I'm just like the whole wrestling landscape. We're seeing, the Claudio against Jericho. You're seeing Gunther against Sheamus, and those couple of matches that they had were, just fantastic. Yep. The Donnybrook that they had a couple pay-per-views ago, that was a lot of fun, a lot of really good storytelling, and just the way WrestleMania is building, I think that's going to be a great 2-night event. There is some talks where you're not going to have some of the extra frivolous matches. They're going to limit the night, but I think WWE is going to hear the grumblings of the boys and girls in the back and the fans, and even the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. They were talking about putting that on Friday or Monday. I think they'll wise up, put it with WrestleMania, and then there was another match that they were talking about, and obviously you have the Hall of Fame induction. Can't wait to see who they're going to put in. I really hope Jazz ends up going Victoria. In there. So and Victoria, that would make a lot of sense. So
you mentioned Ricochet, and it made me think of a debut that just happened with Dragon Lee. Ooh. I want to see Ricochet and Dragon Lee. I want to see that match so bad. I almost wish Ricochet was back in NXT, because that'll be an amazing match if they can pull that.
Instead of Gargano going down to face Waller, it would have been Ricochet and Tiger Lee, or Dragon Lee had recently been on camera. Ricochet goes down and goes, "Oh, really? When I'm done with Waller, I'm coming after you."
Yeah. Wait, Gargano went back to NXT?
Yeah, Waller challenged HBK. HBK's like, "I already told everybody I'm not coming out of retirement again, but I've got someone to help you, or I've got someone to help me take care of you." And they're gonna meet. I think it's next week. It'll be Gargano against Waller, and Waller is sort of playing this difficult wrestler, much like HBK was. So so that it's just a little character play. So.
Man, so they pushed him back down to NXT, huh? That's a shame. But and then just, we talked matches, but the promos we've seen this year so far too.
Oh man, see,
it's to the point now where I think I'm going to start a spreadsheet so I can track it. So come December, when we're doing our end of the year recap, I go, oh, wait a minute, what about Mike? Because we're only the beginning of this year, and we've seen the Cody promo, we've seen the Paul Heyman Cody promo, we've seen the MJF, manslaughter program, we've seen the MJF Danielson, I'm going to cripple you promo, we've seen just all this amazing stuff. Speaking of MJF and character work, did you watch the media scrum with MJF where he's totally making fun of CM Punk the whole time?
No. Oh yeah, he was eating pickles or something.
So he comes out with the towel around him like CM Punk always did, and he sits down and he starts eating these pickles, and he's talking about, these are the best fucking pickles I've ever eaten, which is what CM Punk was saying when he was eating the muffins and everything. I was just like, man, if they ain't teasing CM Punk coming back, come on. Which, I'm down for it, especially if they've worked out their issues. Which, when you kind of heard the Paquette interview with Hangman, or with Omega, Hangman has gone on Twitter and kind of dropped hints on the show about apologizing for what his role in that whole thing was. I mean, it's a business, man. Just like you and I at work fight over zipping bags, but you get over it and you get the job done and you go on. So hopefully, hopefully that's kind of kind of what happened, because I know he's injured too, so I'm sure he's out.
Yeah.
But I think Omega put it really good in that Paquette interview where he said, in professional sports, contact sports, you get in the locker room, you have a fist fight, and it's over with. The difference is with pro wrestling, suddenly it's on Twitter and everything else is happening in the new day and age where you couldn't just bury it and set it aside. And I'm like, well, those days are a little over. You can't just go beating up people anymore, but
yeah, hopefully they do. They get it all worked out. I mean, I'm fine with CM Punk not coming back. I think that was just a dark cloud. But hey, if they put that to bed and move forward, there's money to be made. CM Punk is a commodity. He's a brand, and he would bring instant credibility, just like Jericho. You beat Jericho, he's Teflon, and that would build whoever CM Punk ends up going against. Does he get thrown into the world title picture? Is he the de facto champion when he comes back? He's got his version of the AEW title to drag it out, or does he come back and he's just quiet about it? And
I want to see. So I want to see. So I'm gonna get the pencil out here for a little bit and dream scenario for his return. And it's something I think I've talked about before, but I'd like to see. So FTR get the titles back from the Guns. Let's say they do a program of the Acclaimed, and eventually the Young Bucks step up and go, all right, we want our titles back. So now you've got the Acclaimed. You've got the FTR Young Bucks, maybe a feud going on for the title, and Omega comes in and interviews and costs FTR the title. So the next week they come out and, hey, we've got a partner. We want a trios match. And boom, here comes CM Punk. And now you're setting up the Elite versus, CMFTR or whatever they're going to call themselves. I would love to see that and you cut the promos talking about everything. You can even start the groundwork based on the fact that it was either Dax or Cash. One of them made comments during Brawl Out about how it was childish and all this other stuff. So, the Bucks can say we took offense to that and now we're really pissed. And then they can say, well, you guys acted like we talk about, like AEW is really good at bringing the realism in. Yeah. I think they could, like you said, money to be made. Can you imagine the pay-per-view gate for CM Punk versus Kenny Omega?
Yeah.
And the build up for that, man, especially if in that time frame you've got Edge and Christian reuniting. The rumors are Edge is done after WrestleMania.
Yeah.
So you got Edge coming over, and now you've got Edge and Christian versus FTR as a program before the Elite, maybe, or you've got Edge, just some dream matches with Edge. You got Edge versus Jungle Boy. You got Edge versus Darby Allin. Edge versus Omega.
Oof. Malachi Black.
What's funny is anybody with Omega is just like a dream match.
Yeah.
He's just so good at anybody in the ring.
Yeah.
But I just the possibilities for the things we'll see this year are infinite. And matter of fact, we can almost do a prediction. I guess we kind of are. Things that might happen that, towards the end of the year. Like I predict CM Punk back as one. I predict Edge in AEW. I predict another big WWE star flipping to AEW. I just don't know who yet, but I think there'll be another flip. I also can see Ricky Starks or somebody jumping over to WWE, especially Ricky Starks.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think Ricky Starks would be good. Hopefully they don't make him toil down in NXT.
He's Cody's buddy.
At all. And then come November timeframe, you see, Omega jump ship over to WWE. Does that mean that the Elite are going to? Is FTR, their contract is up here in the next month or so? They just had a thing that said nothing has changed contractually. Tony called and said, come show up. Do they tie a program with the Guns that they'll only sign if they win this match or whatever, or lose or leave town kind of thing? I don't know, but
I don't know.
That would be.
I still believe that AEW is really good at working everybody. I'm sorry, I just do. I have a feeling, and I completely don't have any basis on this, but I have a feeling FTR signed a long-term deal. I think MJF has signed a long-term deal. I don't think Omega is going to jump ship. What's the motivation for him to go to WWE? There's no. Because I was thinking about this the other day, because there's a serious talk about it.
Mhm.
But what would, other than, okay, you can headline WrestleMania, cool, I guess, if that's something he's wanted to do, but he's never said that he wanted to be a WWE guy. He
Yeah, I
wanted to
mean,
cut his teeth in New Japan. So,
yeah. I mean, if you've headlined the Tokyo Dome, I think you're good.
several
But
times.
yeah, and to say like he's been the best, he's been the PWI number one, the PWI most technical match of the year on a couple of occasions, and you know the the big mountain that everybody wants to climb is WWE, but he could look to Jericho or he could look to call Cody and go, hey, what do you think?
Yeah. I mean,
And
and the motivation might be to go in to work with some of the young talent that they have, but
Mhm.
who knows? It would be a huge loss, I think, to see him go
Yeah.
there. But at the same time, it would be just like Cody. I'd start watching for the Omega stuff
Yeah.
because I would, just like I started watching WWE a lot more when Cody showed up.
Yeah.
And then I fell off when he was injured because I wasn't going to be there. And then I watched again when he
Yeah.
came back. So,
Yeah. And I think if you compare Cody and Kenny going back or going to and going back, two completely different worlds, because Cody's not, I mean, I'm sure he's doing it for himself because, he's his own man, but he's doing it for the family name, doing it for the family name and for the sake that, his dad and brother never held the world title. So, but Kenny would be heading over there. The Bucks would be heading over there solely to say, we've climbed every mountain
yeah.
on the wrestling planet, and we've won world titles everywhere. You're not going to see the Hardys come back over to WWE. I think they'll finish up over there when both of them are healthy and ready to compete. So, but you are 100% right. Just the Omega insert wrestler, Omega and Seth Rollins, the fun that they could have. The
Chad Gable.
Oh man, that'd be a lot of fun. If you could build some credibility back up with Dolph Ziggler,
Yeah.
I think that would be really good. And plus, all the clout that they could give the if they want to build theory or they wanted to continue to build. If they're going to split the Uso brothers up, which I don't think they would, because Jimmy couldn't really run on his own, main event Jay kind of a thing. So, yeah, that's interesting. And then, to see what are they going to do with Logan Paul? He's not just going to be a one and done again, like he did with Roman at the Saudi show. I think he'll be on a lot more. But I wouldn't want, yeah.
You mentioned him. I wonder if, so let's say night after WrestleMania, they don't have Jay White, so you need a heater for Cody. What if Logan Paul comes out? What if Logan goes over Seth at WrestleMania? Cody's out cutting his, oh my God, I got the title, I'm the best, Cody promo, and Logan Paul walks out and goes, I'll have a shot at that.
Yeah.
That'd be another good little mini feud for Cody. To one, you get Logan some credibility, which, as much as I dislike the man, he's good in the ring. So
yeah,
and instant heat. You keep Cody as a huge baby face. You don't have that potential booing of him that Cody seems to get every once in a while. Like people just kind of turn on him after a while.
Yeah,
they did it in AEW.
Random,
yeah. So
yeah.
I also wholeheartedly believe that Cody is going to go back in AEW eventually. I think he's got too much love for the company. Just some of the interview. I'm not saying anytime soon, but I have a feeling that potentially, I don't know what his deal was with WWE, if it was 5 years, 3 years, but I have a feeling towards the end of that, we're going to hear a lot of conversations about, is Cody going? Where's Cody going? It's not going to be an instant. He's definitely going. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, just because you have a falling out, your kids are still your kids, right? So AEW is always going to be Cody's baby, and for anyone to say or think otherwise is kind of naive. So, but you figure, and the Tony Khan and Cody haven't ever bust on each other publicly or said anything negative. So
it's all been positive. Even Cody in one of the most recent interviews said that there was no disgruntledness. It was all literally just about him he wants to go fulfill that legacy.
Yeah.
Even with the Buck stuff, he said, yeah, things changed, but he's like, I don't have any animosity towards them.
Yeah.
So, but cool,
Good.
man.
Yeah.
I was,
man, this has been a good, first quarter. Looking forward to, April, May, I think has 2 pay-per-views. So we're going to have some fun over on the, WWE side. Impact is starting to build a little momentum. They're on Access TV. If, you're looking for some international, they've got a lot of international wrestlers over there. They do have a good product. It's not the best produced, but it's pretty good. NWA you can still catch that on YouTube. Bully's going to be making an appearance over there. And so is Matt Cardona. He's bouncing back and forth to all the shows. So second quarter, looking forward to it. So good stuff, man. Thanks for sparking up some conversation.
Yeah, man. Another candid convo here that we like to do, and they tend to go on and we ramble, but I enjoy them. I think maybe we should actually slot this as a weekly thing.
Yeah.
Whether we, because as some of you know, we don't script. We kind of go, what do you want to talk about? So, but I think maybe we put these on our slates as try to record one a week to maybe kind of talk about some of the rumors and news going on and just have a conversation about wrestling, because I'll say it again. I think we're on the cusp of another, 18 million people watching wrestling, 9 million per show or whatever you want to say, know. I forgot what the peak numbers were during the height of WCW versus the NWO, and then WCW versus WWE and all that stuff. I forgot what the height numbers was, but it was astronomical. So we'll see. But I want to thank all of our listeners. Appreciate every single one of you. I know it doesn't seem like much, but it really does mean a lot when you guys hit that subscribe button. Give us a rating. So please do that if you haven't already. It just helps us grow, helps us get out there to more people, to let more people hear us and either hate us or love us. Follow us on all our social medias at No Shave Man Cave on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and you can find our podcast anywhere you get your podcast from: iHeartRadio, Spotify, Audible, Google, Amazon Music. You can ask Alexa to play us. So anywhere you guys get your podcasts, give us those reviews, give us those likes, follow us on Twitter, give us those comments so we could continue to improve ourselves and just get better.
Absolutely. And if you are bebopping around the interwebs, go ahead and swing on over to our YouTube channel. Just uploaded a couple of fantastic cuts about bloody wrestling matches and instrumental and influential wrestlers that happen to be women. So on behalf of JT, thank you for joining us here for our casual conversations and closing up quarter one. So stay safe, look out for yourselves, look out for each other, and we'll see you on the floor.
You've been listening to the No Shave Man Cave.
If it's pro wrestling, we're talking about it. Unless we see something shiny and wander off into the woods. If you hang around long enough, we'll eventually come back. We hope you've enjoyed the show. Fire off your comments and be sure to leave us a 5-star rating, and we'll be back soon. But in the meantime, hit us up on Twitter, YouTube, and TikTok at No Shave Men Cave. Y'all be cool. And we'll see you next time on the floor.